Jake Morrison wiped sweat from his forehead as he looked at the scanner screen. 3 weeks alone in the asteroid belt and still no good salvage. His ship, the Lucky Strike, drifted slowly between the floating rocks. Most people thought he was crazy for working out here by himself. Maybe they were right. The old cargo ship creaked around him. Jake had bought it cheap and spent 2 years fixing it up. Now it was his home, his workshop, and his only way to make money. He searched for broken ships and scrap metal to sell. It was not glamorous work, but it paid the bills. A soft beep made him look up. Something was on the scanner. Jake leaned forward and adjusted the controls. There it was, a ship signature about 10 miles away, hidden behind a large asteroid. The readings were strange. The power levels were very low, almost dead. Well, Jake said to himself. What do we have here? He changed course toward the signal. As the Lucky Strike moved around the asteroid, Jake got his first look at the ship. His mouth fell open. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was about the size of a small cruiser, but its shape was all wrong. Instead of the hard angles and straight lines of human ships, this one had smooth curves. It looked almost alive, like it had been grown instead of built. Strange crystal formations stuck out from the hull, and the metal had an odd blue-green color. Definitely not human, Jake said. He had never seen an alien ship before. Most people hadn't. First contact had happened only 50 years ago, and alien visitors were still rare in human space. The ship was clearly in trouble. It tumbled slowly with no engine glow or running lights. Debris floated around it, pieces of the hull and what looked like advanced electronics. Jake could see a large hole in the side where something had exploded. He should call it in. This was the kind of thing the military wanted to know about. But Jake had always been curious, and this was the most interesting thing he had found in months. He decided to get a closer look first. Jake put on his spacesuit and grabbed his toolkit. The Lucky Strike's docking tube extended and connected to an airlock on the alien ship. Jake was surprised when the airlock opened easily. The ship's computer still had some power. Inside, emergency lights cast a red glow. The air was thin but breathable. Jake walked carefully through corridors that curved like tunnels. Everything was built for people about his size, but the style was completely different. The walls had flowing patterns carved into them, and the doctor controls looked like living flowers. The ship was beautiful, but it was also dying. Jake could hear the hum of failing systems and feel the vibration of an unstable power core. His engineering training kicked in. This ship needed help and fast. He found the main engine room after 20 minutes of exploring. It was larger than he expected, with a massive crystal structure in the center. This had to be the power core, but it was nothing like human technology. The crystal pulsed with weak light, and cracks ran along its surface. Smaller crystals around the room flickered and went dark one by one. Jake pulled out his scanner and took readings. The power core was overloading. If it failed completely, it might explode and take half the ship with it. But there were also signs that it could be fixed. The damage was serious but not hopeless. He spent an hour studying the system. The aliens used some kind of biomechanical technology. The crystals were not just power sources, they were alive in some way. They grew and changed, adapting to the ship's needs. It was incredible, but it also made repairs very difficult. Jake found the problem. A power surge had damaged the main crystal's support matrix. The smaller crystals were trying to compensate, but they were burning out one by one. Soon the whole system would collapse. He had an idea. It was crazy, but it might work. Jake went back to the Lucky Strike and gathered some of his equipment. He had spare power cells, some basic tools, and a universal adapter kit that could connect to almost any system. Back in the engine room, Jake carefully removed one of the burned-out crystals. He studied its connections and found a way to bypass the damaged pathways. Then he connected one of his power cells to the alien system. The connection sparked and hummed, but it held. The main crystal's pulse grew stronger. Jake smiled and connected 2 more power cells. The alien technology seemed to accept his crude fix. The emergency lights grew brighter, and he could hear systems coming back online throughout the ship. It took 4 more hours, but Jake managed to stabilize the power core. He rigged bypasses around the worst damage and used his power cells to support the failing crystals. It was not pretty, but it worked. The ship was no longer in danger of exploding. Jake sat back and wiped his hands on a rag. He felt good about the work, even though he knew he was probably breaking about 20 different laws. This was clearly an important ship. The materials were expensive, and the decorations suggested someone wealthy or powerful owned it. As he packed up his tools, Jake noticed something he had missed before. Carved into the wall near the power core was a symbol, a complex design that looked like a crown made of stars. He took a picture with his scanner. The ship's systems were running better now, but Jake could do more. Given a few days, he might be able to restore full power and fix the hull damage. It would be interesting work, and he had nothing else to do. Jake made his decision. He would stay and continue the repairs. What was the worst that could happen? Unknown to Jake, his repairs had done more than just fix the power core. Deep in, the ship's computer long-range transmitters came back online. Automatically, they began sending out a signal, a royal distress beacon that would soon reach the ears of those who had been searching desperately for this particular ship. Jake Morrison, simple salvage engineer, had just repaired the personal vessel of Queen Liranel of the Velnari Empire. His quiet life was about to become very complicated. 3 days had passed since Jake found the alien ship. He had made good progress on the repairs. The hull breach was sealed, life support was running at full power, and he had restored most of the ship's basic systems. The work was fascinating. Every day he learned something new about the alien technology. Jake was deep inside a maintenance panel when his ship's alarm started blaring. He dropped his tools and rushed back to the Lucky Strike. The scanner showed a human military ship approaching, fast. It was a patrol vessel painted in the blue and white colors of the Colonial Defense Force. Oh, great, Jake muttered. He had hoped to finish his work before anyone noticed him. The military ship stopped a safe distance away and sent a communication request. Jake accepted the call, and a familiar face appeared on his screen. Captain Lisa Hayes looked older than he remembered, but her serious expression was exactly the same. "Jake Morrison," she said. "I should have known it was you when we got reports of an unregistered ship in this sector." "Hello, Lisa," Jake replied. "Nice to see you too." Lisa Hayes had been his commanding officer 10 years ago, back when Jake was in the military. They had worked together on several missions before Jake decided he was tired of taking orders and left to become an independent salvager. "What are you doing out here, Jake?" Lisa asked. "And what is that ship you're attached to?" Jake hesitated. He could lie, but Lisa would figure out the truth eventually. "I found a derelict vessel. I'm making some repairs." "A derelict vessel that doesn't match any design in our database," said another voice. Commander Ben Walsh appeared next to Lisa on the screen. Jake remembered him too. Lisa's second in command, always worried about regulations. "Stand by for inspection," Lisa said. "We're coming aboard." Jake had no choice but to agree. 20 minutes later, Lisa and 2 other officers docked with the Lucky Strike. Jake met them at the airlock. Lisa wore the uniform of a ship captain now, with new scars on her face that spoke of recent battles. "Ben, Dr. Chen, this is Jake Morrison," Lisa said. "Jake, meet Dr. Amy Chen, our xenobiologist." Dr. Chen was a small woman with intelligent eyes. She looked excited as she shook Jake's hand. "Is it true you found an alien ship?" "See for yourself," Jake said. He led them through the docking tube to the alien vessel. Dr. Chen gasped when she saw the curved corridors and flowing designs. "This is incredible. The craftsmanship, the materials. This civilization is clearly very advanced." Ben Walsh was less impressed. "Jake, do you understand what you've done? This is first contact protocol territory. You should have reported this immediately." "The ship was dying," Jake replied. "If I had waited for a committee to make decisions, there would have been nothing left but debris." Lisa studied the repaired systems as they walked to the engine room. "What kind of shape was it in when you found it?" "Bad. The power core was failing, life support was offline, and there was a hull breach. It would have been completely dead, within hours. In the engine room, Dr. Chen stared at the crystal power core in amazement. Biomechanical technology. I've read theories about this, but I never thought I'd see it in person. How did you figure out how to repair it? Lisa asked. Jake shrugged. I watched how it worked and found ways to make it work better. It's not that different from any other engine once you understand the principles. Not that different, Ben said. Jake, this technology is probably centuries ahead of ours. Maybe, Jake said. But broken is broken no matter who built it. Dr. Chen was taking readings with her scanner. The power output is actually higher than it should be for a system this size. Your repairs have somehow improved the efficiency. Before anyone could respond, the Lucky Strike's communication system activated. Jake's ship was receiving an incoming message on all frequencies. The voice that came through was speaking an unknown language, but the tone was urgent. That's not coming from human space, Lisa said. The signal is too strong. It has to be from somewhere nearby. Jake felt a cold chill run down his spine. I think we're about to meet the owners of this ship. They hurried back to the Lucky Strike's bridge. Jake's scanners were showing multiple contacts approaching from deep space. As they watched, 5 large ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the asteroid field. The alien ships were massive, at least 3 times the size of Lisa's patrol vessel. They had the same curved design as the ship Jake had repaired, but these were clearly warships. Weapon ports were visible along their hulls, and energy readings showed powerful shields. Lisa, Ben said quietly, we need to call for backup. No time, Lisa replied. They're already here. The alien ships moved in formation toward the asteroid where the humans waited. Jake noticed they kept their weapons powered down, which was either a good sign or meant they were so confident they didn't consider the humans a threat. Incoming message, Jake announced. Audio only. The voice that came through the speakers was deep and spoke accented but understandable English. Human vessels, this is Admiral Zektaran of the Velnari Royal Fleet. We are not here for conflict. We seek our missing queen. Lisa and Jake exchanged glances. Queen? This is Captain Hayes of the Colonial Defense Force, Lisa replied. We found a damaged vessel in this location. We've been attempting repairs. The ship you found belongs to Her Majesty Queen Lyranel, the alien admiral said. She disappeared 3 weeks ago while on a diplomatic mission. We have been searching for her throughout this sector. Jake's stomach dropped. He had been casually repairing the personal ship of an alien queen. This was much bigger than he had thought. We understand your concern, Lisa said carefully. The ship was in critical condition when we found it. One of our engineers has been working to stabilize its systems. Your engineer has done more than stabilize, the admiral replied. Our sensors show the ship is now operating at near optimal levels. This is most impressive. Dr. Chen leaned close to Lisa. Captain, this could be a huge diplomatic opportunity if we've helped save their queen's ship, or a huge diplomatic disaster if something goes wrong, Ben added. The alien admiral continued. We request permission to dock with our queen's vessel and inspect the repairs that have been made. We also wish to meet the engineer who accomplished this feat. Jake felt everyone looking at him. 3 days ago, he had been a simple salvager looking for scrap metal. Now he was apparently about to meet alien royalty. Permission granted, Lisa said. We'll cooperate fully with your investigation. As the largest alien ship approached, Jake couldn't help but notice how beautiful it was. The hull seemed to shift. Color in the starlight and the engine glow was a soft blue-green that didn't hurt to look at. Jake, Lisa said quietly, I hope you know what you're doing. So do I, Jake replied, watching the alien ship extend its own docking tube toward the Queen's vessel. Within minutes, they would meet their first aliens face to face. Jake just hoped his repair work would make a good first impression. The future of human-alien relations might depend on how well he had fixed a broken power core. The alien docking tube connected with a soft vibration that ran through both ships. Jake took a deep breath. His simple life as a salvager was definitely over. The alien who came through the airlock was taller than Jake expected. Admiral Zektaran stood almost 7 feet high, with long arms and a graceful way of moving. His skin was pale blue-green, and his eyes were large and dark. He wore what looked like a military uniform made of the same flowing material as the ship's walls. Behind him came 3 other aliens. One wore simpler clothes and carried tools, probably an engineer. The others looked like guards, though they kept their weapons lowered. "I am Admiral Zek Terran," the tall alien said. His voice was deep and formal. "I serve as protector of the Royal Fleet." Lisa stepped forward. "I'm Captain Hayes. This is my crew, and this is Jake Morrison, the engineer who worked on your Queen's ship." The Admiral's large eyes focused on Jake. "You are the one who performed the repairs?" "Yes, sir," Jake said. He felt nervous talking to someone so important, but he tried to keep his voice steady. "Most interesting," the Admiral said. "Our best engineers searched for 3 weeks and could not locate the ship. When we finally found it, our sensors showed it was beyond saving, yet you have restored it to full function in only 3 days." The alien engineer stepped forward. "I am Chief Engineer Mirakoths. May I examine your work?" "Of course," Jake said. "I'll show you what I did." They moved through the ship in a group. The aliens looked pleased to see their Queen's vessel working again. The emergency lighting had been replaced by warm, natural illumination. The air smelled fresh and clean. In the engine room, Mirakoth studied Jake's repairs with great interest. She used a scanner device that looked like a living flower to take readings. "Remarkable," she said. "You have integrated your primitive power cells with our biocrystal matrix. By all rules of engineering, this should not work." "But it does work," Jake said. "Sometimes the simple solution is the best one." Mirakoths looked at him with what might have been surprise. "Simple? You have created a hybrid system that exceeds the original specifications. Our most advanced engineers would need months to design such improvements." Admiral Zek Terran was examining the power core display. "The output is 30% higher than normal, and the system stability has improved. How did you achieve this?" Jake pointed to his power cells. "Your crystals were trying to do too much work. They were burning out from the strain. I gave them some help so now they can focus on what they do best." "You speak of the crystals as if they were alive," Dr. Chen said. "In a sense, they are," Mirakoths replied. "Our technology is based on living systems. The crystals grow and adapt, but they require careful balance. What this human has done should be impossible for someone unfamiliar with our science." "I just listened to what the ship was telling me," Jake said. "Every machine makes sounds when something is wrong. You learn to hear what it needs." The aliens exchanged glances. Admiral Zek Terran spoke in their own language to his engineer. Then, he turned back to the humans. "We must explain our situation," he said. "Queen Liranel was traveling to meet with the Centauri Council. She hoped to establish peaceful relations between our peoples and others in this region of space. Her ship suffered critical failures during the journey." "What kind of failures?" Lisa asked. "At first we believed it was an accident," the Admiral said. "The Queen's ship uses the most advanced technology in our empire. Such complete system failure should not be possible." Mirakoths was still studying Jake's repairs. "But now I see evidence that this was no accident. Someone sabotaged the biocrystal matrix." Jake felt his stomach tighten. "Sabotage?" "Yes," the engineer said. "Look at these burn patterns. Someone introduced a cascade virus into the ship's computer. It was designed to cause exactly the kind of failure we found." Dr. Chen looked worried. "If someone sabotaged the Queen's ship, where is she now?" Admiral Zek Terran's expression became grave. "That is what we must discover. The ship's logs were damaged, but perhaps your repairs have restored some data." Jake moved to a control panel and activated the ship's computer. The display came to life, showing symbols he couldn't read, but some of the patterns looked familiar. "The ship's memory is still fragmented," he said, "but I think I can recover more of it. Give me a few hours." "We do not have hours," the Admiral said. "Our Queen has been missing for 3 weeks. If she survived the sabotage, She may be in great danger. Why would someone want to hurt your queen? Lisa asked. Queen Lyranel believes in cooperation between species, the Admiral explained. She wants to build alliances and share knowledge. But there are those in our empire who think we should remain isolated. They see other species as threats. Including humans? Ben asked. Especially humans, the Admiral said. Your people are young but very resourceful. Some of our leaders fear that humans will become too powerful if we share our technology. Jake was working on the computer while they talked. The alien interface was confusing, but he was starting to understand the basic patterns. I'm getting something, he said. The ship's log shows the last few minutes before the power failure. A holographic display appeared above the control panel. It showed the interior of the ship, but not as Jake had seen it. This recording was from 3 weeks ago when all the systems were working perfectly. A figure appeared in the hologram. An alien woman wearing elaborate robes. She was similar to the others but smaller and more delicate. Her skin had a silvery tint, and she wore a crown made of the same crystal material as the ship's power core. That is Queen Lyranel, Admiral Zektarin said softly. In the recording, the Queen was speaking urgently to someone off-screen. Warning lights flashed around her as ship systems began to fail. She moved quickly to a wall panel and activated some kind of emergency procedure. She activated the survival protocol, Mirakoth said, but I see no record of an escape pod launch. Jake manipulated the controls to show more of the recording. Wait, there's something else. Look at this energy reading right before the power failed. The display showed a massive energy spike, but it wasn't coming from the ship's engines. That's a transportation beam, Dr. Chen said. Someone took her off the ship. Or she escaped, Jake said. Look at the timing. The energy spike happens right after she activates the emergency protocol. I think she transported herself somewhere safe. Admiral Zektarin leaned forward. Where? The nearest inhabited system is days away. Jake studied the sensor readings more carefully. Not a system. Look at these coordinates. She went to something much closer. He traced the energy pattern on the display. About 6 hours away from here, there's a large asteroid with an unusual metal signature. An emergency shelter, Mirakoth said with excitement. The Queen's ship carries equipment to establish a temporary base. She's been hiding in an asteroid for 3 weeks, Lisa asked. It would be a logical choice, the Admiral said. Safe from whoever sabotaged her ship, and close enough to be rescued once her vessel was found. Jake was already plotting a course on the ship's navigation system. I can guide us there. The Queen's ship knows exactly where she went. Admiral Zektarin placed a long-fingered hand on Jake's shoulder. Human engineer, you have already done more for our people than we had any right to expect. But if you could help us find our Queen. Of course, Jake said. We're going to need all our ships for this. If someone tried to kill your Queen once, they might try again. As the combined human and alien fleet prepared to search for Queen Lyranel, Jake couldn't help but feel amazed at how much his life had changed. 3 days ago, he was just a salvager looking for scrap metal. Now he was helping to rescue alien royalty and possibly preventing an interstellar war. But first, they had to find the Queen. And Jake had a feeling that would be the easy part. The hard part would be keeping her safe from whoever had tried to kill her in the first place. The asteroid was exactly where Jake's calculations said it would be. From the outside, it looked like any other large rock floating in space. But Jake's sensors showed something different. Metal structures hidden deep inside. There, Jake said, pointing at his scanner display. Life support systems, power generation, and what looks like a small landing bay. Admiral Zektarin studied the readings. The Queen has indeed been busy. This shelter is quite sophisticated for something built in 3 weeks. The combined fleet approached carefully. Jake flew the Queen's ship, with Mirakoth's helping him understand the controls. Lisa's patrol ship and 2 of the alien vessels followed. Close behind as they got closer, Jake received a weak signal from inside the asteroid. Someone's trying to communicate, he said. The message came through in the alien language, but Admiral Zektarin translated. It's Queen Lyranel. She's alive, But she says her medical systems are failing. How do we get inside? Lisa asked. Jake pointed to a small opening in the asteroid's surface. There's a docking port, but it's barely big enough for one ship. I'll take the Queen's vessel in. Dr. Chen, can you come with me? You have medical training. I'm coming too, said Dr. Kevin Ross, the human medical officer from Lisa's ship. Jake piloted the alien ship into the asteroid with careful precision. The docking tunnel was a tight fit, but he managed to connect without damaging anything. As they moved through the airlock, Jake was amazed by what he saw. Queen Lyra had built a complete emergency base inside the hollowed-out asteroid. Curved corridors led to several rooms, all lit by the same crystal technology as her ship. The air was warm and breathable. They found the Queen in what looked like a medical bay. She was lying in a device that resembled a crystal coffin, with energy, patterns flowing around her body. Even injured and tired, she was clearly a person of great importance. Her silver skin seemed to glow with inner light, and her crown was more elaborate than it had appeared in the hologram. Your Majesty, Admiral Zektarin said, kneeling beside the medical device. Queen Lyra opened her large, dark eyes. When she spoke, her voice was weak but clear. Zektarin, my old friend, I knew you would find me eventually. We had help, the Admiral said. This human engineer repaired your ship and led us to you. The Queen looked at Jake with interest. You fixed my ship? I thought it was destroyed. It was pretty badly damaged, Jake said, but not beyond repair. Most impressive. Our own engineers told me the ship could not be saved. She tried to sit up, but the medical device held her in place. I have been in stasis for 2 weeks. My injuries were more serious than I first thought. Dr. Chen and Dr. Ross examined the alien medical equipment. This is incredible technology, Dr. Ross said. But I think we can help. Our medical knowledge might work with your healing systems. Over the next hour, the human and alien medical officers worked together to stabilize the Queen's condition. Jake watched in fascination as they combined human medicine with alien healing crystals. The treatment is working, Dr. Chen reported. Her Majesty should be able to travel safely now. Queen Lyra sat up slowly. Thank you, all of you. But I fear our troubles are not over. What do you mean? Jake asked. The sabotage of my ship was not random, the Queen explained. It was planned by members of my own government. They oppose my policies of cooperation with other species. Admiral Zektarin looked troubled. Your Majesty, that is a serious accusation. It is also true, the Queen said. I have proof. The Cascade virus that destroyed my ship's systems came from our own military computers. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. If they tried to kill you once, they will try again, the Queen finished, especially now that I have survived and can expose their crimes. As if her words had been a signal, Jake's communication device started beeping. Lisa's voice came through with urgency. Jake, we have a problem. 3 more alien ships just arrived and they're not answering our hails. Jake looked at Admiral Zektarin. Friends of yours? I fear not, the Admiral replied. Your Majesty, we must leave immediately. But as they helped the Queen toward the airlock, the asteroid shook with the impact of weapon fire. Someone was attacking the shelter. They found us, Queen Lyra said grimly. Admiral Vexicalis and his rebels. They must have been monitoring our communications. Jake's mind raced. The Queen's ship was fast, but it was still damaged. The rebels had 3 warships. In a straight fight, the good guys would lose. Your Majesty, Jake said, I have an idea, but I need you to trust me. Speak, the Queen said. My repairs to your ship weren't just fixes. I improved the systems. If I can finish the modifications, your ship might be fast enough to outrun the rebels. How long do you need? Admiral Zektarin asked. Another impact shook the asteroid. 20 minutes, Jake said. We may not have 20 minutes, the Admiral replied. Jake was already moving toward the ship's engine room. Then you'll have to buy me some time. As Jake worked frantically on the ship's systems, he could hear the sounds of battle outside. Admiral Zektaran's ships were fighting to protect the asteroid, but they were outnumbered. Queen Lyra Nell appeared beside him as he worked. "What are you doing to my ship?" "Something that should be impossible," Jake said, connecting more of his power cells to the alien crystals. "I'm overcharging your biomechanical systems with human technology. It might work, or it might blow us. All up." "I see why my engineer was so impressed with you," the Queen said. "You think differently than we do." "Sometimes different is what you need," Jake replied. He was pushing the hybrid system to its limits, far beyond what he had tried before. The ship's power readings climbed higher and higher. The crystals began to pulse with bright light, and Jake could feel energy flowing through the walls around them. "Jake," Lisa's voice came over the communication system. "The rebels are breaking through. You need to get out of there now." "Almost." "Ready?" Jake called back. He made one final connection and stepped back. "Your Majesty, I hope your ship likes what I've done to it." Queen Lyra Nell moved to the pilot's controls. Only one way to find out. The ship lifted off from the asteroid with smooth power, but as they cleared the docking bay, 3 rebel warships moved to intercept them. Energy weapons flashed in the darkness of space. "Hold on," the Queen said, and activated Jake's modifications. The ship didn't just accelerate, it practically teleported forward. Jake felt himself pressed back into his seat as they shot past the surprised rebel ships. The Queen's vessel was now moving faster than anything else in the area. "Incredible." Admiral Zektaran's voice came over the radio. "Your Majesty, your ship is operating at impossible efficiency levels." Queen Lyra Nell smiled as she piloted her enhanced ship in complex maneuvers around the asteroids. "Not impossible, Admiral, just human." The rebel ships tried to follow, but they couldn't match the speed and agility of the modified royal vessel. Jake watched their weapons fire pass harmlessly behind them. "This is Admiral Vex Kalis," came an angry voice over the communication system. "Queen Lyra Nell, you cannot run forever. We will not allow you to corrupt our empire with alien influences." "The only corruption here is your own," the Queen replied calmly. "You have betrayed your oath to protect the crown." Jake was monitoring the ship's systems during the chase. "Your Majesty, the modifications are stable. This ship can outrun anything in their fleet." "Good," the Queen said, "because we're not running away. We're going home." As the royal ship set course for the Velnari home system, Jake realized that his simple repair job had become something much bigger. He had not just fixed a broken ship. He had given an alien queen the power to reclaim her throne. The real adventure was just beginning. The journey to the Velnari home system took 2 days. During that time, Jake learned more about the alien empire than most humans had ever known. Queen Lyra Nell was not just a ruler. She was a visionary who wanted to change how her people interacted with the galaxy. "For too long we have kept to ourselves," the Queen explained as they traveled through space. "We thought isolation would keep us safe. But the galaxy is changing. Species that work together will thrive. Those that remain alone will fall behind." Jake was still making improvements to the ship's systems. Every modification he added seemed to work better than the last. "Your technology is amazing," he told the Queen, "but it's also very complicated. Sometimes simple solutions work better." "That is exactly what I hope to learn from other species," Queen Lyra Nell said. "Each civilization has different strengths. Humans appear to excel at practical problem-solving." Admiral Zektaran's voice came over the communication system. "Your Majesty, we are approaching the home system, but I'm afraid we have a situation." At the main display, Jake could see why the Admiral was worried. The space around the Velnari homeworld was full of warships. 2 different fleets faced each other across the system, one loyal to the Queen, the other controlled by the rebels. "Admiral Vex Kalis has been busy," Queen Lyra Nell said grimly. "He's convinced many ships to join his rebellion." Jake counted the vessels on his scanner. "The rebels have twice as many ships as your loyal forces." "Then we'll have to be twice as clever," the Queen replied, as they approached the standoff. Both fleets detected the royal ship. Admiral Vex Kalis's voice came over the communication channels. "Queen Lyra Nell, surrender now and we will show mercy. Your policies have weakened our empire." We cannot allow you to continue. My policies have brought peace and prosperity, the Queen replied. You offer only fear and stagnation. Jake was studying the tactical display. Your Majesty, a direct fight won't work, but what if we don't fight at all? What do you mean? Admiral Zektaran asked. Look at my modifications to your ship, Jake explained. I didn't just make it faster, I made it more efficient. What if we could do the same thing? To the rebel ships? Queen Liranel understood immediately. You want to disable them without destroying them. Exactly. Your biomechanical technology can adapt and change. If I can get close enough to their ships, I might be able to override their systems remotely. That's impossible, came Chief Engineer Mirakoth's voice from Admiral Zektaran's ship. Our security systems would prevent such intrusion. Maybe, Jake said, but I'm not using your security systems. I'm using mine. Jake's plan was risky and complicated. He would use the Queen's enhanced ship to get close to the rebel fleet. Then, he would upload a modified version of his hybrid technology directly into their biocrystal networks. If it worked, the rebel ships would be forced to shut down their weapons and engines. And if it doesn't work? Admiral Zektaran asked. Then we'll be sitting ducks in the middle of an enemy fleet. Jake admitted. Queen Liranel made the decision. We try it. Jake Morrison, you have already saved my life and my ship. Now I ask you to help save my empire. The royal ship moved toward the rebel fleet with its weapons powered down. Jake had connected every piece of human technology he possessed to the alien biocrystal network. The ship's computer now contained a strange hybrid of human and alien programming. Incoming message from the rebel fleet, Admiral Zektaran reported. They're demanding that we stop and surrender. Keep going, Jake said. He was deep in the ship's computer system, preparing his electronic attack. I need to get closer. The rebel ships opened fire as the royal vessel approached. But Queen Liranel's enhanced ship danced between the energy beams with incredible speed and agility. Jake's modifications had made it almost impossible to hit. Now, Jake said, and activated his program. What happened next was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Streams of energy flowed from the royal ship to every rebel vessel in the fleet. But instead of causing damage, Jake's hybrid technology began to integrate with their biocrystal systems. One by one, the rebel ships began to change. Their weapons powered down. Their engines stopped firing. But more importantly, their efficiency started to improve dramatically. What are you doing to our ships? Admiral Vex Callis demanded over the communication system. Improving them, Jake replied, just like I improved the Queen's ship. The rebel crews quickly discovered that their ships now performed better than ever before. Engines that had been struggling were now running smoothly. Weapon systems that had been unreliable were now perfectly calibrated. Life support systems that had been barely adequate were now providing clean air and perfect temperature control. This is some kind of trick, Admiral Vex Callis said, but his voice sounded uncertain. No trick, Queen Liranel replied. This is cooperation. This human engineer has shown us what we can accomplish when we work together with other species. Jake opened a channel to all the ships in both fleets. I've given every ship in your fleet the same upgrades. Your technology is now 30% more efficient. Your weapons are more accurate. Your shields are stronger. This is what humans can offer the Velnari Empire. Not conquest, but improvement. The effect on the rebel fleet was immediate. Ship captains began reporting to Admiral Vex Callis that their vessels were operating better than they ever had. The improvements were real and undeniable. Why would you help our enemies? One rebel captain asked over the open channel. Because they're not my enemies, Jake replied. They're your people. The Queen wants what's best for all Velnari, not just the ones who agree with her. One by one, rebel ships began to change sides. Their captains realized that Queen Liranel's vision of cooperation had already brought them more benefits than Admiral Vex Callis's promises of isolation. Within an hour, Admiral Vex Callis found himself commanding only a handful of ships. The rest of his fleet had rejoined the Royal Navy. This is not over, the rebel admiral transmitted as his remaining ships prepared to retreat. Yes, it is. Queen Liranel replied sadly. Vex Callis, you have been my friend for many years. I offer you one final chance to return to the service of our people. There was a long pause. Then Admiral Vex Callis's ship powered down its weapons. Your Majesty, I was wrong. I let fear cloud my judgment. Fear is understandable, the Queen said gently, but it should not control us. As the crisis ended, Jake found himself surrounded by grateful alien officers. Chief Engineer Mirakoths was particularly excited about studying his hybrid technology. You must teach us these techniques, she said. The applications are limitless. I'll be happy to share what I know, Jake replied. But remember, the best solutions often come from working together. Queen Liranel offered Jake a position as Chief Technology Advisor to the Empire. You could help us improve all our systems. Your innovations could benefit billions of people. Jake was tempted, but he shook his head. Thank you, Your Majesty, but I'm not really the advisor type. I prefer working with my hands. Then perhaps a different arrangement, the Queen said. Would you be willing to serve as an ambassador? Someone who can help our peoples understand each other? An unofficial ambassador, Jake said with a smile. I'll keep doing what I do best, fixing broken things and helping where I can. A month later, Jake was back in his salvage ship, the Lucky Strike. But now he carried official diplomatic credentials from both the human government and the Velnari Empire. His simple repair job had led to the first formal alliance between the two species. As he drifted through the asteroid belt looking for his next salvage opportunity, Jake's communication system activated. The signal was coming from a ship design he didn't recognize, clearly from another alien species. Unknown human vessel, the voice said in accented English. This is Captain Horak of the Zephyrian Trade Union. We have heard of the human engineer who helps those in need. Our ship has suffered critical damage. Can you assist us? Jake looked at his scanner display and saw a large alien vessel with obvious battle damage. He smiled and changed course toward the distressed ship. This is Jake Morrison of the Lucky Strike, he replied. I'll be right there. As he approached the damaged alien vessel, Jake reflected on how much his life had changed. A few months ago, he had been just another salvager trying to make a living. Now he was known throughout several star systems as the human who could fix anything. But the best part wasn't the fame or the diplomatic status. It was the knowledge that his simple willingness to help a stranger in need had opened up new possibilities for cooperation between species across the galaxy. Jake docked with the Zephyrian ship and grabbed his toolkit. There was work to do, and he was eager to get started. After all, broken things were just opportunities waiting to be fixed. And in a galaxy full of different species with different technologies and different problems, there would always be plenty of opportunities for someone willing to lend a helping hand.